Hello, good morning. Am I audible now? Okay, we'll start shortly. So, welcome to all of you. So, welcome to Kavita, Mahesh, Taisir, Raja Nagendra, Kiran, Saumya, Bindu, Shankar Lingam, Rahul Nair, Dheeraj, and of course, there'll be others who will be joining in soon. So, we'll not hold back for them. We'll start off and start the uh, webinar now. Are you able to see the screen with the presentation material here? If it is so, type yes in the chat. Are you able to see the screen? The first slide? Okay. I'm Shashidhar CN. Okay, great. Hi, Mir. Welcome. We are just starting off right now. So I'm Shashidhar CN. So I come with a background of 30 years, mostly in leadership roles in information and cybersecurity at Fortune 100 companies. And I'm uniquely placed in training you in information and cybersecurity. I have trained, mentored, and helped industry required develop industry required skill sets for more than 5,000 plus professionals in my area of specialization, which is information security. Our organization is also into training and information security consulting. So we have trained and developed full spectrum skill sets from scratch for national CERTs, that is computer emergency response teams, cyber defense teams, and help them protect and defend critical national information infrastructure like SCADA, power grids, ATC, air traffic controls, electronic voting systems, internet banking, ATMs, mobile banking, etc., to name a few of our areas of expertise. As a thought leader, strategist, consultant, trainer, and mentor, I've spoken at various security conferences in India and abroad. So this is about me, a brief about me, so that you know a bit about me before we start off the presentation. Now, when it comes to technologies, I call these new age technologies: cloud, analytics, mobile, social media, and security. Together, we are calling them as scams. So if you look at it, each one of this is going to be the trend in the future. Okay. And security is the glue which holds all these scams models together. Cloud computing, one of the main issues with adoption of cloud computing was security. And once security part of the cloud was addressed, cloud adoption has really taken off tremendously and exponentially. Analytics, again, analytics is something, a new area. There is a lot of privacy issues with analytics that is causing a lot of worry in the minds of people when it comes to AI. Typically mobile. On your mobile, you are sharing almost every detail or aspect of your usage of the phone, your behavior, and that's available to all those apps, because currently apps just take, or shall we say, they just capture data about the user. And with that data, they can completely profile you and identify you. So this is a major issue. So today, an average user has around 30 to 40 apps in India, and in China it will be around 80 apps or more. Okay, so you can imagine with that you can easily profile a person and find out what they are up to, what is their location, what is their behavior, and all this. This can be profiled by the person who holds access to that data on the mobile. Given this, it's a danger, and it's very important that we protect ourselves with the what we call mobile antivirus and even MDM, mobile device management plus. That's a different topic in itself, or probably a webinar topic in itself when we discuss mobile security. Social media, I call it social business because it's just not just media anymore. Companies use social to interact, engage with their customers, build relationships, attract customers, get leads, and digital marketing, which is one of the offshoots of social business, is a huge and booming industry in India as well as across the world. Finally, security. Uh, when it comes to security, insecure hardware and software cause critical security issues. For instance, when you look at hardware, I call this the Manchurian chip. And typically today, almost all electronic devices, motherboards, chipsets are all manufactured in China. And during the manufacturing process, it is very easy to embed malware within the firmware, and you will get what is a chip which you will install onto your computer, server, whatever, or your IT infrastructure, which will immediately backdoor to wherever the hackers want to. This is a problem that was recently raised in a story by Bloomberg about Supermicro. Supermicro is a server and computer manufacturer in the US, and Bloomberg actually said in that article, which came out around 2 months, 2.5 months back, that Supermicro chips, chipsets, including Amazon's, some of the chipsets used by Amazon and even Apple, were all backdoored by Chinese. So this was refuted very strongly by these three companies, and Bloomberg was not able to provide any proof that this was actually so. So there we'll let the story rest. But I'm saying the possibilities of using hardware to actually create backdoors into your IT infrastructure is very much real, alive, and probably even kicking as of now. Now, coming to software, we all know that software today is being designed with poorly, without security being built in, more as an afterthought, and there are bugs, and the focus is more on functionality rather than built-in security. If you don't really build in security from the base, from the time you design the software, it can be very expensive to fit in or retrofit security on top. It is doesn't in such a case it doesn't really work, or even if it works, it's not really as effective or cheap to do this. It can be quite expensive. Now, let's move on to some of the critical areas and the prime reason for this webinar. There is a paradox of acute skills shortage versus rising number of sophisticated threats and attacks. So much so that there is an acute skills shortage of qualified information security professionals For practical purposes, wherever I say security here in this webinar, I refer to information security or cyber security. Okay. The term information security and cyber security are different, but for the purposes of this webinar, we'll use this interchangeably. Okay. So this is, having said that, in India, there's a shortage of 10 lakh information security professionals. This was as of 2015 and as stated by Government of India. I'm sure the number is almost double, if not more, in India itself, because the private sector's shortage of skilled security professionals may not have been properly taken into account given the lack of information that the government has with regard to the security needs of the private sector in India. Am I okay so far? Are you able to hear me? Are you able to follow me? If so, type awesome. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. Am I audible now? Can you hear me? Yes, okay, great. So if you look at the career opportunities in the cyber security and the information security domain. So ISACA, which is an international body which certifies security professionals, it is present in 180 countries, has more than 200 chapters. There's a chapter in Bangalore. I'm the past president of ISACA Bangalore chapter as well. So ISACA has been doing a survey since 2015 at the RSA conference, where the who's who of information security congregate. And there they found that there is a global cybersecurity skill shortage. And though there are increasing budgets, we'll start from 2015, we'll go on up to 2018. I'll lay out some of the information that has been culled out through the survey of information security professionals globally. Now, if you look at it, in 2015, phishing, malware, and hacking attempts were primary issues. And 56%, 83% of enterprises or companies provided their employees with mobile devices. These are all vectors of attack, as we call it. And 8 out of 10 board of directors were worried about security. Okay, this is the high level picture. And filling information security positions was increasingly difficult and continues to be so. This is a constant trend that we are seeing over the last 3 years. And there are a lot of statistics provided here. And if you look at the third point here, the ideal professional is 33% say that hands-on experience is important. 46% say technical skills are needed, and 69% say that certification is required. So these were some of the points expressed by security professionals when they were surveyed in 2015. So this is a trend that continues, and there's only been a small change in numbers, but we'll look at it as we kind of go along. In 2016, there was a survey done again. And at that point of time, if you see in 2015, 82% of the information security professionals, and here I'm talking of CIO, CTO, and CISO, Chief Information Security Officers, CEOs who were profiled and who were surveyed, they had provided this data. In 2015, 82% of them were confident that they could address a cybersecurity attack. and that had come down to 75% in 2016. So there is a big decrease, a 7% decrease in the confidence of these professionals to be able to address cybersecurity attacks. And this is a cause for concern. 74% said that they expected a cyber attack in 2016. 6 out of 10 felt that there is having layered security defense was important, and all these stuff. But if you look at it, they were saying AI is going to help. Okay, this is while it provides some solutions, there is also a new vector, or what we call a method or a way in which they could be attacked. 53% said Internet of Things is going to be a major issue for them in future. And that was borne out when some of the, we have had instances where refrigerators, which were IoT devices connected directly to the internet, were actually being commanded by hackers, and they were used to order milk and other groceries in excess of what was required. So, once a hacker takes control of a refrigerator, you don't really monitor a refrigerator. You may have an antivirus for a computer, a mobile device, but you will not have an antivirus for, say, a refrigerator or IoT device. So this becomes a new challenge. We have had modems, we have had routers being commandeered by hackers and being used to as a gateway to launch attacks on unsuspecting victims. So these are some of the things that have happened, and they continue to happen. So IoT is a major issue when it comes to security. Okay, so situational unawareness, this was one of the points that was described in the survey as well. And yeah, when it comes to 2017, okay, 55% said that they have hiring challenges, and 1 in 5 organizations found that they got less than 5 applicants for a cybersecurity position. So, and 55% say that they have open positions and it takes at least 3 months to fill a cybersecurity position. So these are some of the issues. So on one hand, you have a shortage of people, shortage of skilled cybersecurity professionals. On the other hand, you have, the joblessness, or shall I say, employability issues with engineers in India. Only 7% of engineers are, what skilled or adequately skilled to actually enter and join the industry in cybersecurity. So this is a major cause for concern. One hand, you have a problem shortage. Other hand, you have employability issues, and you have sophisticated threats which are always increasing. This is one of the paradoxes that we have in India as well as across the world. Finding the people with the right skills to actually get into the industry is a major challenge. One second. Okay, now let's look at what are the kinds of skills that are required. If you look at it, 37% say that 1 in 4 candidates are qualified. 55% say practical hands-on experience is most important. And close to 70% of hiring enterprises require a cyber security or a security certification for people to join the positions. So this is what is the challenge that we are seeing when it comes to cybersecurity, not just in India but across the globe. So, what is the state of cybersecurity in 2018? So, this survey has been continuing since 2015. The latest that we have is the survey as of 2018. So, if you look at it, the landscape has continued to be very challenging. So 50% of the respondents are the people who were surveyed, the executives and the leaders who were surveyed in this RSA conference by ISACA said that they experienced an increase in the number of cyber attacks. So it's really something worrying and a cause for concern as well, because the kind of attacks has actually increased in sophistication. The number of attacks has increased in sophistication, and on the other hand, you don't have the people with the right skill sets to actually address these issues and threats. So this is really a very difficult situation for leaders in cybersecurity. 4 out of 5 respondents indicated very likely that they will face a cyber attack in 2018. So it's like saying 9 out of 10 people say, I'm going to be attacked. It's not a question of if, but when. It's like you're waiting to be attacked. It's like that, and you're defenseless. You know that you can't really address these attacks. So 59% or say had unfilled positions in cybersecurity. 3 in 5 organizations had unfilled cybersecurity or information security positions. And 54% of the respondents who say their organizations take 3 or more months to fill open positions in cybersecurity. So this is a very, very challenging atmosphere for companies to address cybersecurity. And 77% felt that they lack people with the technical skills. They don't have technical staff. Okay, so this is some of the challenge. 39% said that the security professionals or the people who are joining today's cybersecurity professionals don't really understand the business need. What is it that the business needs from a security perspective? They are not able to understand. And 33% felt that respondents need technical skills, need to improve on their technical skills. So we'll look at some of this gender disparity. Typically, there is a disparity of gender. 82% of cybersecurity professionals or information security professionals are male, and there's a shortage, or there's a really bad shortage of female cybersecurity professionals. So, in that sense, there's a gender disparity. Okay, and this is there across the IT industry, more so in cybersecurity. Okay, this is a major problem that needs to be addressed. Now, 64% of the companies who were surveyed or the cybersecurity professionals who were surveyed said that they have an increase in budgets. Okay, they are able to get more money from their board of directors, from their CEOs, to address cybersecurity. What this means is when the cybersecurity or the information security budget increases, their ability to hire more cybersecurity professionals increases. They are able to hire more professionals, pay better salaries, and also buy equipment, buy hardware and software which can help protect them from cybersecurity threats and issues. And 60%, 69% actually said that their boards are very worried and concerned about cybersecurity, and they are providing the adequate amount of priority for cybersecurity. In fact, I've had calls last year from a CISO of a nationalized bank in India, and he called me to ask, is there someone, a cybersecurity professional whom you can recommend to join us on our board of directors? We really suffer. We really don't have people with the real knowledge of the banking domain as well as cyber security, and we want, if you can recommend, we'll be very happy to induct them onto the board. So this is the kind of issue that we are facing. Banks face an issue in India. Any institution, financial institution across the world has a major problem of cyber security, because most of the cyber attacks happen for financial gain. Having said that, if you look at it, at 84% uh, of people felt that cybersecurity strategy has been aligned with organizational objectives as compared to 75% in 2016. So there is a gradual increase in awareness at the senior management level in companies, and they are able to provide the resources required to align to ensure that cybersecurity is not a area which is not adequately funded or addressed for want of resources. Okay, so clear so far? If you're clear, just type yes. If you're clear so far, type yes. Okay, great. So, having said this, let's look a bit about the threat landscape and the defense techniques. So, cyber attacks are on the rise and will continue to rise. This is a phenomenon that is going to continue. It's not going to reduce, it's only going to increase. So 4 and 5 say that it is expected to continue in 2019 as well. So the number of attacks, the sophistication of attacks is just not going to let up, it's only going to increase. And the primary motivation for attacks is financial gain. People, hackers want to steal information about credit cards, about your take control of your bank accounts, and that is why financial institutions are the primary target for hackers across the world, not just in India, across the world. And what are the common vectors of attack? Phishing. Now, I'm sure you have all at some point of time received emails saying that you have won a lottery, or from some person in an African country who says that, hello, so and so, I have some billions of dollars which I have, and I want to deposit in your account. Give me your bank account number and details and other stuff. The moment you respond to them, they will come back and say, great, thank you for providing this, but I have a processing fee. I need to pay this to the bank and all that. Can you wire me some money, say 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, and like that? And depending on how gullible you are, they'll start extracting money from you, and then they will have your bank details and they'll clean up your bank account. Okay, malware. We'll discuss what is malware. Okay, later I have a detailed explanation for malware. Social engineering. So social engineering is a kind of technique where you use behavioral techniques to find out information, including passwords and other sensitive details and information about a person, so that you can use that to clean up their bank accounts or hack their social media accounts and whatever. Okay, so this is social engineering in a very simple layman's term. Now, continuing to 2018. So if you look at it, 33% of the common types of threat actors are cyber criminals. Cyber criminals are incredibly well organized, probably better organized than some of the companies that we have, operating in and doing business. They are more organized, they collaborate so easily, and again, cybercrime is one of the most lucrative crimes in across the world. It's overtaken drugs. It's overtaken all kinds of other criminal activities to become the top criminal activity, because one, you can commit a crime and escape very easily when it comes to cyber crime, whereas in other crimes you will easily be caught, and the chances of you being able to steal more money is less. So cyber crime is the most common type of crime. Criminals are entering cyber domain and using it to create cyber crimes. 23% of them were hackers, 14% were non malicious insiders. 14% of the attacks happened because of insiders, people within the company, employees who, without really understanding the importance of security, did something which resulted in a security breach and resulted in some loss of data or whatever. Okay, so these are unwitting, unknowing people who, for lack of awareness, did these things. 11% were malicious insiders. Malicious insiders are people who are employees, people within the company who probably did not felt they were wrong. They did not get a promotion. They were sacked, or what happened, whatever happened. They had a fight with their boss. So to get even, they went and did something which really created a cyber threat to their company or organization. 10% are nation states. Today, cyber warfare is the fifth dimension of warfare being used by countries to dominate and find out information about their enemies. This is a major challenge, and they are well funded because it's funded by a country, and this has been used to actually silently wage wars against their enemies. This is happening even today as we speak. So quite almost every country is doing this, and they're using it to spy on their enemies, to collect data, to actually wage war very quietly on their enemies. So this is happening. Activists are people who are motivated by ideology. It could be like WikiLeaks, or it could be like Anonymous, Lulz, and other groups who are motivated by their ideology, and they feel they are wrong. They will go and hack and attack targets, whether it is government or banks or whatever, right? So these are hacktivists. Now, 45% of respondents felt that ransomware attacks are decreasing compared to 2017, and because of effective strategies that have been adopted. This is primarily across US, Europe, and much less in Asia. In fact, in Asia, if you look at it, we have seen, and especially in India, we've seen the increase in the number of ransomware attacks. What is ransomware? Ransomware is a malicious software which gets downloaded onto your computer, which encrypts all your data, and then you will find that you're not able to use your computer or your device, and the hacker will say, send me so many bitcoins or whatever cryptocurrency, and then I will provide you a key to open up your computer. Okay, and if you don't pay immediately, then the number of bitcoins that is asked goes on increasing. In fact, we have had quite a few organizations in India which have paid ransom to these attackers and taken the keys to actually unencrypt or decrypt their machines, because they found that they were not able to conduct business, or their business was totally hampered because of the critical data which was on these computers. So this is one aspect. Quite a few companies in US and Europe, they have a policy not to pay ransomware, because once you pay ransom, you are going to be attacked again. Okay, so this is a very difficult choice to make, and there are various strategies to address ransomware threats. Okay, there's what is called active defense strategies. Okay, so that is one of the ways you can thwart cybersecurity attacks. And biggest barriers to implement this is lack of skills, lack of budget, lack of the legal implications and technical implications in addressing some of these issues. Okay, now we will go to the next level. What are the career paths in information security that are available to skilled professionals? I would say PE graduates, MTech, ME graduates, to people who have MCA or other CS related qualifications. Okay, so if you look at it, uh, there is this security analyst. If you want to be what is called a security analyst, which is a foundational or a starting position, you can do the CISSP from ISC squared, which is basically nothing but certified information systems security professional from ISC squared. Then you have Cybersecurity Nexus or CSX from ISACA. Uh, ISC squared is isc2.org. ISACA website is isaca.org. Okay. And you have the cybersecurity fundamentals, which is the course or certification which someone starting afresh in security can go and take up, which provides them labs, which provides them exercises, which provides them video tutorials about security and the like. And ISACA and ISC squared are not-for-profit organizations. They are there to provide value and education to members as well as non-members in information security. Then you have the CSX practitioner certification from ISACA. Okay, and once you go through cybersecurity fundamentals, CSX practitioner certification, you can then look up probably certified information security manager, which is the CISM from ISACA. It's a certification. All these CISM, CISSP, and other certifications, they all require prior experience in information security or domains that are specified as part of the exam curriculum. Okay, you need to have prior working experience. So it's better to start off with, say, cybersecurity fundamentals practitioner and the like, get some experience, get into a job in security, involving security, and you can then probably get the credentialing. Most of these certifications, you can pass the exam anytime, and you have a 5 years time during which you can acquire that experience. So you can go join an organization in security and then get your experience and then apply for credentialing to get the certification in your name. So these are some of the possibilities. Then if you are interested in becoming an auditor, this is one of the toughest exams that we have in this information security domain. You have certified information systems auditor certification from ISACA. Then you have a newly started certification called cybersecurity audit from ISACA. So yeah, are you able to hear me, or is there a problem? If you're able to hear me, say yes. If you're able to see the screen, please say yes. Okay. There was a problem in between. I apologize for that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and continue. So cybersecurity audit is a new certification from ISACA, which focuses on cybersecurity audit as a part of the information security domain. Okay. Then you have CRISC, which is certified in IT risk management from ISACA. So IT risk is a major issue for organizations. So ISACA has a certification for that as well. And then at the top, you have certified in governance of enterprise IT. If you want to be a CIO or someone who manages IT across organizations, across large organizations, you need to have experience in governance of IT. So this is a certification from ISACA again, which provides this. Then if you're interested in looking at ethical hacking or going into the technical sphere, I wouldn't advise you to take up CEH or any of these certifications. Initially, you would take a step-by-step approach, look at say CISSP or CSX, and then get into, say, if you're interested in being an ethical hacker, you can try certified ethical hacker certification. OSCP, again, one of the toughest ethical hacking certifications, OSCP. There are probably less than 1,000 or probably around 1,000 OSCP certified professionals across the world. It's a very difficult hands-on certification. Okay, then information privacy. So CIPP is another certification. Privacy is becoming a major issue for organizations and for a lot of countries as well. In fact, in Europe, they have the GDPR, which now requires almost every company which collects data from European citizens to adhere to GDPR, which provides stringent penalties for breaching an individual's privacy. So privacy is another domain if you want to specialize in, which is under the umbrella of information security. You can do that, and you can start off by being a certified information privacy professional. Then at the end of it, and not least important, also very important, is business continuity. Business continuity is the ability of an organization to continue to do business even when their IT systems are down or degraded, using alternate systems, support, and other stuff, which is the domain of business continuity and disaster recovery. So there is a certification for this as well. And this is in great demand by a lot of organizations, especially financial institutions, banks, which rely primarily on IT to conduct their business. So you can become a certified business continuity professional as well. So there is CBCP, ABCP, Associate Business Continuity Professional, and the like. So if you're interested in going into the domain of business continuity, all these are under the domain of information security broadly, and you can look for a career in these areas. Okay. Now, we'll look at some of the concepts of information security quickly. So by the term security, you would have known by now, we refer to information security. Companies rely on information systems to run their business. Protecting and safeguarding information systems is the domain of information security. Now, information security is based on three concepts. We call this the CIA triad, not the organization in the US, but CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality is operating on the need to know. If you see in military and in sensitive installations, organizations in the military domain, people operate only on the need to know. You're only told what you need to know to perform your job or your work or your task. Okay, you will not know anything beyond that. Okay, so only authorized person is allowed to view that information. That is confidentiality. Integrity. Only authorized person is allowed to change the information. When you are sending information across the internet using IT systems, if you create a request for, say, a bank fund transfer from one account to another, if you say it is 10 rupees that is to be transferred, someone intercepts it and changes it and makes it 100 rupees, then there is a loss of integrity. Okay, because the unauthorized person has changed the information. So integrity is very important for information security. So only authorized person is to be allowed to change the information. Availability. Availability refers to IT resources being available. For instance, if I have, let us say, 10 servers, and if those 10 servers are not available for authorized users to access, then there is a loss of availability. Availability, confidentiality, integrity, and availability are the three pillars of information security. Even if one is reduced or fails, then information security is failing. Okay, so it's very important. These are some of the basic concepts. Now, risk. Risk refers to the likelihood and magnitude of loss that exists from a combination of assets, threats, and control conditions. Now, when you come out of your house, you lock your house, right? And you double check to see if it is locked. Then you look to the left and right and then cross the road. There is a risk, right? There is the likelihood when you lock the door, if you are not locking it properly, there's a likelihood that someone can break into, open the lock, and enter your house. A thief can enter your house or residence. So that's a risk. Now, threat. Threat is an action that may result in loss or harm. Vulnerability is a weakness in design, implementation, operation, or internal control. And we'll look at some of the other terminologies that we used. Remote access Trojans, or RATs as we call it. Remote access Trojans are complex programs that allow unauthorized access and covert surveillance of a victim's PC or even a mobile phone, okay, or a device. Trojans. Trojans are malicious software designed to look legitimate but can control the PC and damage, destroy, and create malicious acts. Worms are viruses which can repeat without much human interaction. They can spread and infect systems. Okay. Now, viruses. Viruses are malware programs that replicate by reproducing itself to infect the host system. They make changes to the host by deleting files, reformatting hard disks, etc. Malware, malicious program or software designed to gain access to a computer and damage the files. Bots are internet robots, can be used maliciously for stealing passwords, lock keystrokes, and perform malicious activities. Okay, so information to just kind of sum up before we start the Q&A. We can have around 7 to 10 minutes of Q&A. Now, what I will tell you is information security is an extremely high paying and rewarding career if you have the right skills. Okay, please visit shashidharcn.com, register with your email ID and name, and we provide regular newsletters, blog posts on information security, which can help you improve your awareness and knowledge of information security. And if you are interested in making a career in information security. And lastly, we offer several courses. List is constantly increasing. If you are interested, feel free to explore. Okay. With that, we are done with the questions, and we can now take. We are done with the presentation, and we can now take questions. Feel free to ask your questions, and I will try my best to address this in the limited time that we have right now. Okay. What is the, was it okay? Did you understand whatever I shared with you till now? Do you have any questions? You can, of course, reach me at Shashi, SHI at shashidharcn.com as well. I'm happy to answer your queries if you have. And if I can't address it in the Q&A now, but yeah, you can be in touch with me. I'm available on LinkedIn as well, and on Facebook. And of course, you can always reach me through my website as well. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. Okay, so Kavita is asking, what is the difference between CISA and cybersecurity audit profession? So CISA is, let's say, for instance, I'll try and quickly explain this to you. CISA is a certification that has been with ISACA for since 1960s or 70s, early 70s. Okay, it means that you are providing a certification which shows that you are credentialed and you are capable of auditing information systems. It could be data, it could be systems, it could be IT. Primarily, it is a non-technical certification. The cybersecurity audit certification is more technical. So depending on where and which path you want to choose, you can decide to uh, take up the right certification which suits your career path or the desired career path that you want to have. So quickly, that in a nutshell is the difference between CISA and cybersecurity audit certification provided by ISACA. Kavita, hope that answers your query. Shankar Lingam, okay, you say you've been an IT professional for 12 years. You can definitely start to have a career in information security. You can move. Quite a few people who become system administrators and who have gone into the support or information technology or the infrastructure support domain, after hitting, you can call a ceiling, they want to move to security and focus on security. You can always do that. Definitely, Shankar Lingam. Start with a basic cybersecurity certification or skill, and then you can definitely get into cybersecurity. There is definitely a possibility. Okay, even within the company, I've had people within my organization earlier, my previous organization, who were not at all involved with security, and because they had the experience and the inclination, I guided them, I mentored them, trained them in they took up security certifications and then moved into cyber security as a domain. So that's possible. Finance, okay, if you're a finance guy, definitely you can look at cybersecurity, Mahesh. You can start a career in cybersecurity. I would say for you, because you don't have the technical background, I would suggest go for say something like start with CSX to understand cybersecurity nexus, and then look for a certification like CISA, Certified Information Systems Auditor. So that way you can use some of your finance skills as well, non-technical skills, to audit information security assets. So Mahesh, that's what I would recommend to you. Okay. So good. We have had some good questions. Any more questions? I'm happy to take them. So don't get overwhelmed and feel that information security is a very technical domain. There are a lot of areas within information security where non-technical professionals can also join. Okay, with of course some of the requisite certifications and acquiring the skill sets and get into information security. So let that not be something that stops you from exploring information security, because it's a richly rewarding career and a high paying career as well. So you can definitely turbocharge your career, kickstart your career if you're starting off, and take it to a different level. If you're keen to take up or learn some new skills. Okay, that's the key. Okay, great. If it's been good so far, just type great. Okay, and you have enjoyed being on this webinar till now. Type great if you have learned something new and this has helped you take away some thoughts on which you can act upon and move forward. Right. Good. And thank you. Thank you for your comments. Uh, if we are done, feel free. Yeah. Mahesh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Mahesh, you can just register on the website shashidharcn.com. Okay. With your email ID, you can contact me. I'll be able to guide you on what to go ahead. Okay. I'm there to help you. Okay, I'm happy to help anybody who's interested in making a career in information security. Okay, because I have benefited immensely by being in information security, and I strongly feel this is the time to pay and give back to the community, to professionals, and to help them grow and expand or improve on their career. So this to me is a commitment. To me, it's a mission. Okay, and I'm on a mission to help anyone who's interested in making a career in information security, and I'm there to support you. Thank you, and thank you for being on this webinar. I hope it was useful, and please register on my website if you want to know more about the blogs, the newsletters that I periodically send out, and I can get you started off on this career or journey on information security. Thank you so much, and have a nice day and a weekend ahead. Thank you. Bye bye. We'll end this webinar now. Thank you.